What's good? This is the 2-Bit Cipher. I'm your host, D Brown. I got my boys with me, Aaron Lorick, amlorick.com. I got my boy, Amari Lamont, my boy, Chad. What's good, fellas? How you all doing?
What's going on? What's going on, man?
It's great, man. This is great. This is fun. I'm excited.
I'm excited
to do this.
Man.
I did want to just let everybody know why we're all here. So Aaron is here, amlorick.com. I'm gonna shout that out throughout this whole podcast. That's my graphic designer.
Plugs.
I got AM Lorick on the show because I met Aaron in 2007 playing Call of Duty, and we've played games, chopped it up. Aaron came up here for a weekend, didn't end very well, but he came up here for a weekend. And then, like I said, we met in 2007, and now that's my graphic designer, 2021. You know what I mean? All day. I got Amari Lamont, Chad Edmonds. Chad definitely has to be on here. I've known Chad for a while, but we really got close through gaming, being on the game within the last couple of years. Our friendship, I would say, it turned into a best friendship. I mean, that's all there is to it.
No question.
And in just a matter of 2 years.
Yeah.
No
arguments.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Question.
So
no question.
I'm glad you guys could be here.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to find out you guys are best friends.
Yeah, man. See how that happened?
No, you see how it is, man. But yeah, I'm definitely glad you guys could be here. I want to tackle parenting and gaming, as all of us being parents and all of us being avid gamers. I think it'd be worth, definitely getting into. I did want to go through just a couple brief introductions about ourselves. I'm Daryl Brown, 38-year-old father, avid gamer, avid IT enthusiast. Just technology just runs my world. So I don't really have anything else to say. That's just what I do.
Man.
You know what I mean? Avid golfer, right? Avid sports.
I was gonna say you gotta throw
the golf, man. Sports, gaming, the kids, man, and technology. All day.
Absolutely. I was gonna say you can't intro if you got a Titleist hat, and you can't not mention.
I know,
golf.
right? Hey, he right about that.
Gotta mention golf.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's my intro. Aaron.
Oh, my name is Aaron. I've been playing games pretty much my whole life. I'm 35 years old. My first system was a Super Nintendo. Street Fighter is the greatest game of all time. I love sports. I love cooking. I got a family. I have 3 kids. My oldest is almost 10 years old. So, and my kids game. But, and I guess that's pretty much it for now. But we'll get into the rest of it later in a minute.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that leaves me. Obviously, I'm Chad Edmonds. Man, I have a background in gaming, but it's kind of a funny background. My college experience is what kind of got me more into gaming than anything. But studied English in college. That's definitely not something that most people translate into a gamer. But
right.
I wrote for newspapers, covered sports. I'm a big sports guy. I played basketball in college, but father of 2, soon to be 3 here in July. Kind of nervous about that, but we won't get into that. But I've been playing games. Been playing games forever, but really got into gaming. And I could say I'm a gamer once I got to college.
Right.
I think that's when I could give myself the title of gamer. I think in middle school you just play games.
Right.
And then in high school you play games. You become a gamer when you start playing them with people.
You're absolutely right about that.
That's fair.
So
yeah, no, definitely.
I never thought about that, the difference between a gamer and somebody who plays games.
Yeah.
No,
Is
right.
it,
no,
because you
right.
have casual gamers and you have competitive gamers. I'm not trying to start that, but
right.
That's funny too. I didn't even think about that.
I like how you threw that in there.
Definitely.
That was good.
Definitely.
Yeah, no. I forgot. I've been playing games. I played the Atari, obviously being a little bit older than you guys. So Atari was my first gaming system when I was
Man.
4. Like I had an older
Crazy.
brother who was 8 years older than me, and
Yeah.
all he did was play games. He
Right.
played Street Fighter. He used to beat my ass. He used to just cry, just sit there. I mean, he used to tear me apart in Street
Man.
Fighter. But you know,
I wish I didn't have any siblings. I had cousins that would smack me in all the fighting games, but then I'd get them all back in sporting games because none of them were athletes.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
that was,
Yeah.
that was the trade-off.
It's something to be a young kid and know what a power eye formation is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For
we're
real.
playing Madden online.
Right.
I've done
Yeah.
this before.
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
For
no, I
real.
hear you. So you know, this podcast, I took a Facebook survey and I asked 10 questions. And I asked the parents of children who game to just answer some just questions about gaming, any fears, any positives, any negatives, obviously mostly negative. Obviously, we've dealt with the stereotypes of gaming, if you will, you know what I mean? Went through all the, that's all you do. What's the point of all this? You know what I'm saying? You already know how it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to tackle just some of the responses. I guess we can just give some mitigations, you know, if you will, about, you know, just some of the fears. And like I said, it's just, you know, something fun. And I think it could be really informational if you know, a parent is really having a hard time or really cares, you know what I mean? Because obviously we've been doing this our whole lives. We are parents, you know. My 5-year-old daughter loves games already, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, right. no quips or qualms with that.
Right. Yeah, no question. So
it's crazy because some folks would be real nervous about that.
Oh, I know.
At that age.
I know, but it's kind of like, well, actually, you know what? Before that, I forgot. I wanted to go into like something of what has gaming done for you or for us. Basically going back to my introduction. Like I have my 2 of my closest friends here, right? Who, you know, Aaron doesn't live anywhere near me, California.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously you're in Indiana, but I mean, it's just a done deal. Like this is as good as it gets. You know, just the camaraderie, if you will, of just getting on the game, whether we're casually gaming or really getting after it, just being on the game. Just, you know, if, you know, obviously you had a bad day at work. I had plenty of those. Just come home, or you come home and get right on the box. You can just go, there's your outlet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's my outlet all day. Like
no question.
There's no question. It's I've had a shitty day. I have to get on the box. I have to get on the game. I have to talk to my closest friends. And that's just, you know, that's, to me, that's the biggest benefit of it is you can just release everything. Anything that, obviously 2020 was a hell of a year.
Yeah.
And the game saved it for me. Really? I mean, you just seeing a whole bunch of bullshit. You know, obviously when I go get into that, which that could be another podcast.
Right.
Called 2020.
Yeah.
And that thing will last for 3-4 hours.
For
but anyway,
sure.
You know what I mean? But
for sure.
But yeah, that just for me, it's just the camaraderie. It's that outlet. If something's going bad in your life in general, not even just work, if things are just rough, you have your boys to talk to, no matter what. No judgment, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, we get on the box, you hash it out, and it's gone, you know, temporarily. And that's, you know, that's what it's done for me. That's the biggest benefit is I've met my closest friends on the game, because you just share a common, you just have just all the everything in common. Like we love sports, we love games, you know what I'm saying? It's like what more do you need? If I can get on and talk games, play games, talk sports, there's many times I don't even play games. I just get on and chat.
Right.
And that's the older I've gotten, that's the majority of what I do. Like I play games, but I'm on here chopping it up with you guys 70-80% of the time, and the other 20 is games. But that's what it's done for me. I would assume it's the same for you.
Yeah, definitely. It was an extension of being, I'm a competitive person, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where it started for me was, man, I'll beat you I'll play sports with you, and I'll play whatever game you want to play, and then we'll go play a video game too. Like I'll beat you on there too. It was a competitive thing for me, you know what I mean? And so I always made friends on the block, when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like there was a time where, you know, my parents like, man, my old man would throw me out the house. I wouldn't be home all day. You know what I mean? So, but it was an extension of the rest of, you know, my day, you know what I mean? Where I had friends or I had a brother, you know what I mean? And we're winding down for the night. What you want to do? You want to watch TV? No, let's go beat each other up on Street Fighter. Let's go play football. You know what I mean? Whatever, what it can do now, you know what I mean? Just to keep ourselves entertained. And that doesn't mean that we didn't do other things like have family time or watch movies and whatnot like that. It was just an extension of our regular life, which wasn't centered around gaming itself. But I can't ever say that gaming was a negative thing. You know what I mean? Not ever one time. You know, I could say the worst time about me ever gaming was me getting upset over some Street Fighter when I'm high up in the ranks. That's about it, really, honestly.
Right.
You know, like, but other than that, like I have a passion for cars. You know what I mean? Cars is one of my biggest things, and I love designing. I love designing graphics, period. You know what I mean? Like I'm an artist at the end of the day. That was my major in school. So there's portions of games that kids can play nowadays where you can do stuff that was unheard of when I was a kid. Right. You know, they're like designing these graphics on these cars for these racing games is amazing. It's phenomenal. Yeah. And some of these people have turned these into careers. You know what I mean? And I can't say that it hasn't played a part in mine, you know, being a graphic designer. So, man, dude, the best part about gaming at the end of the day for me is like the competitive aspect. I love my boys. I love online gaming. But if you could sit me down right here with my best friend right now and I could play Street Fighter all night, I would do it. There's not even a question.
Right. Yeah, man. I think Aaron touched on it already. For me, is that competitive edge, especially if you played, you know, for me, you know, I played college basketball for my ACL. So my outlet for competitive stuff was gone. You know, it was just all of a sudden I can't compete in basketball anymore. And that was what I thought I was going to do forever. Right. You know, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this professionally. You know, when you tear your ACL and your doctor tells you, you know, this probably isn't going to happen for you. It's like, okay, now I need a competitive outlet. What's that going to be? Right. You know, and for me, when I was a kid, I didn't have any siblings. I'm an only child, so you know, I didn't have the brother that went outside and played football and basketball with me. So I couldn't even really do that when I was younger. So, you know, for me, my way of relating to the closest people to me at the time were my cousins. So my cousins didn't play basketball, and then I'm an English major. I read books when I was a kid. So I'm like, they don't want to read books. You know, how many kids want to pick up a book and read it from start to finish? I was a weird kid, you know. So I was like, man, how do I relate to, you know, to other folks who don't do stuff that I'm into? And that's kind of like the universal tool is gaming. You know, most people, most boys are into some type of game, whether it's a fighting game, a sports game, an adventure game, because now they're so submersive that you just get into it, you know. So there's usually something you want to keep doing. So that's what it's done for me. Like I now have a mode where I can not only satisfy this competitive itch, but I can relate to a whole lot of people. I can talk to people I otherwise never would have been able to connect with through this box. You know,
you lied about that.
It's been nice to, you know, and obviously, you know, Brown, you mentioned it earlier. Without the box, our relationship wouldn't be anywhere near as tight as it is now, and I wouldn't even know Aaron. You know what I mean? So that's the stuff that people don't realize. For me. Without that, then a lot of the really close relationships I have wouldn't be there. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you 100%. It's just it's a good way to, or a good opportunity to meet just some different people, like outside of your circle, right? It's just Cali. I mean, anywhere across the world. You know what I'm saying? It's fantastic.
Common ground.
So I guess, right. So let's dive into some of these concerns. So first one, the games kids are playing, right? So it's Aaron was good.
Excited, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to dig into it. You know what I mean?
Right. So you know, I took the survey. The games that they're playing the usuals: Minecraft, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex Legends, and the majority of the responses had no GTA, which I think
Interesting.
we can all agree
It's fair.
GTA is probably not going to be
It's not kid friendly.
on the
It's
list.
not. It's not.
It's not kid friendly, but actually, truthfully,
But if you have kids and you let them play, no judgments here. Okay, like
Right.
go ahead.
Right.
Do your
No,
thing. If you trust your
absolutely.
kids that
Right.
have the good enough fiber to run it and not be impacted
Right.
by it,
Right.
fine.
Yeah,
Exactly.
when I played GTA, my oldest, she used to play, but we had a rule. You could only get in the car and drive. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You couldn't do anything else. There was no
That's it.
going out here. She loved it. All she did, man, she would get in the car, cut that music on,
Just cruise the whole
Yep,
city.
Yep.
you just cruise the whole city. But that
Cruise.
was the limitation. Yes, you
Yeah.
can play GTA, but obviously you can, if you run over somebody, you know what I mean? Because that's in the game. You
That's
hit
part of the
somebody.
game,
Even
right?
even still, before you actually could play the game, it says it on
Yeah.
stuff like this is back when we were buying games, still hard copies, right? It would say this is not for kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's different arenas for everybody, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
movies or TV, any other facet of entertainment. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So-
And the case for GTA, that not that I'm going to spend too much time on it, but the case for GTA is that people spend too much time worrying about the aspects of GTA that are really bad.
Mhm.
And those are very, very small parts of the game.
Right.
Like, it's
That's
not
100%.
necessarily, I think everyone knows what you can do, but that doesn't mean that you're going to do it every time you play it. I would imagine most people who play the game don't do those really awful things most of the time. Like there's a
Right.
couple things you can do.
There's a couple.
Not to
Absolutely.
justify it.
Right.
Yeah,
And I ran through that story like 4 or 5 times just to run through the story because the story was that good.
It was just a
You know
great
what I mean?
story. It was
Right,
just a
right.
great story.
There's
It's-
so much in the game that you can do that has the smallest part of it is the inappropriate part that people don't like you said, Chad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a ton of there that people aren't exploring that
Right.
they wouldn't know about otherwise because all they're taking is the negative aspect.
right. That's all you hear. You hear
You're
GTA.
100% right.
You think, oh, they're having sex in the back of the car. There's prostitutes.
Right.
Man, I played every GTA game, and it's minimal.
Right.
It's very
right,
minimal. But it does happen. But that's the fear.
Right.
How many
that it
games?
happens.
How many games are out there that have just as lewd content, but
Right.
nobody's talking? Nobody said anything
Nobody's
about
Right.
it.
talking
It's
about
just
that.
GTA just gets
GTA
that.
is just the poster child, right? Like,
Exactly.
right, just the
Exactly. You let
poster
your
child.
kid play you don't let your kid play Grand Theft Auto, but you let them play Call of Duty where
Call
you
of
can
Duty.
stab and shoot and
and you're getting
murder
headshots.
people.
You're
Right.
shooting.
You know,
You're shooting somebody's
If
head off.
anything,
Right.
Duty teaches you about guns that
Yeah.
people are so afraid of. Like I know more about a gun now than I ever did because I play Call of Duty.
I'm
I
talking.
don't even own a gun.
All the
You
because
know?
all I played is shooters. I
Yeah.
know names of guns. You know what I mean? The
Exactly.
M14, M16, M4,
Right.
the Scar
These are real
H,
guns.
Scar
These
Scar
are
Light,
real-
Scar Heavy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The Barrett 50 cal. I'll go through, and that's just from gaming.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? This is
And they're
crazy.
legit guns. These are military grade guns that
Absolutely.
you're learning the different parts about,
Yeah.
and you let your kid do that because they're not having sex in the game.
Yeah.
That's the trade.
Which you can't even see, mind you.
And
Right.
You can't even
it.
see.
You can't even see
Right.
it. You can just see like the car moving. Like
Right.
you know what's
Right.
going on.
You know
the
what's
back
in
of
your
the
window.
car.
Right.
Right.
The
You know
worst
what
part
I'm
about
saying?
GTA, if I was to categorize any part of it, it wouldn't even be that. It'd probably be the things that folks say on the game because
Mhm.
dude,
No
some of the
question.
stuff they say on there is
Mhm.
wild and it's
Mhm.
hilarious too at the same
Mhm.
time.
Right.
You have to
Yeah.
take this
It's
game as a
adult.
piece of adult comedy at the same time because
Correct.
the majority of them are damn funny and they're
Yeah.
well written, they're well produced.
It's funny.
Well written.
It's funny. It's to me, it's just a fine line. You can't censor GTA and not censor, letting your kid watch The Simpsons and Family Guy because those are adult cartoons.
True.
But yeah, I don't let my kid play GTA, but I let him watch Rick and Morty. What? Yeah. What do you
Man, I'm
mean?
about to go put my Rick and Morty shirt on now.
Right. What do you mean? Do you know that your kid's watching Rick and Morty?
Right. And
While-
Rick
while
and
you censor-
Morty is something else. If you ever
Come
watched
on
Rick and
now.
Morty, bro, that's out there.
That's
One of
out
my
there.
favorite shows. That's why I
Man,
like
I'm
it.
telling
Because it's
you.
out there. Yeah.
It's an
you know.
adult cartoon. And as much as people, mainstream The Simpsons is an adult cartoon. There's
100%.
adult content. So you just have to, you kind of have to be fair with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We could go on all day talking
Right.
about that.
Mhm.
We should have
Next.
a GTA trial. That's what we should do.
Man,
know, right?
absolutely.
Trial of
Right.
GTA, man.
Right.
So next on the list is
not for kids.
managing emotions, which I think can be tough. I think, if I were to take a trip down memory lane, like them early Call of Duty days, managing the emotions, I think you can mitigate the emotions by just being in a party with just us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if we're playing a game and we're in just a straight party, we're not in the game chat. We're just chopping it up playing the game. It's when you're in the game chat and you're talking to everybody else, cussing everybody else out.
Right.
Like everybody's just, well, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like then you start getting into it.
Right.
And then now you're yelling at somebody that you don't even know. Now you're just arguing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think, in terms of just managing the emotions, that's the biggest part for me anyway. And we come from, being in the game chat. So early on in gaming, you had to be in the game chat. There was no party chat. So you were talking to everybody in the game. And once you get that going, everybody's competitive, you're going to just start cussing each other out.
I don't know if you've ever heard the offensive defensive line talking in a football game before, but I tell you right now, it ain't nothing pleasant, son. You know what I'm saying? Like even in a basketball game, you hear cats talking the whole game,
crazy the whole game
in your ear all day long.
It's the same.
And this is what I was telling you earlier. This is probably where you need to separate online gaming and gaming at home, right? Because there was a difference for us. You know what I mean? I grew up before there was online gaming. You know what I mean? So we're all playing consoles at home, and even still. If I was the emotional state of me when I was playing a game then, because I'm competitive, was, I'm gonna dog you out. That's how it goes. I'm gonna talk trash to you. You know what I mean? And if I lose, I'm probably gonna be tight too. I'll probably get upset. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the entirety of my day to where it drove me constantly to a certain behavior. That was never what it was, because I was just competitive no matter what it came to. Like I'll race you to the mailbox. You know what I mean? I'll get the mail first.
Oh man,
that's just how it was. Whatever it was.
I still do that.
Yeah. And I would say, I would totally agree with Aaron in that, like, if you have a game chat where people are just kind of talking greasy, it's really difficult to not get pulled into that. Like,
you're going to get sucked in.
Yeah, I've never been a trash talker. I played sports my whole life. I've never been one that spent a lot of time talking. I let my game do my work. But I've been in the game chat and folks have said some stuff, and I'm like, I can't just let him say whatever he wants to say to me. Like I'm a grown man. You can't just be talking to me like I'm some little kid. So I'll get pulled into that. And if anything, that's the thing that concerns me, is I don't want my son to get pulled into conversations he shouldn't be having.
Correct.
At that age. So I'm glad now you can censor that game chat and just be in your own party. You don't have to hear anything that's going on.
You don't have to hear anything. You don't have to hear anything. It would just be, you can play the game, but you've been cutting up for a month or two now. I'm going to need you to not, whatever you've been doing, stop doing it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right?
Because my son is volatile and easily influenced. So if he's in this party and people are cussing him out, calling him this, that, and the other, he's going to get on the headphones and say something, even though he doesn't even know what he's talking about. You know? Like that's just him. He's the type that's going to fire back. So, and I didn't have any of that. So I don't know where he gets that from. It has to be mom. So I worry about him getting in that party and folks, the game itself has adult content, but people are mean, to make it simple.
No,
kids are mean.
Kids are mean.
People are mean. And the way that you bully somebody now is do it digitally, because you don't have to put your fists up when that happens. Right. So you hear people saying whatever they want through these headphones because they know you can't do anything to them.
Yeah,
and
that's
getting
the same,
a kid to understand that is hard. It's hard.
No, absolutely. It's managing the emotions. I don't think it's so much the game itself as what we just talked about. I don't think it's the game. And if it's the game, to mitigate that, I would say play co-op games. Right? Play games that are co-op. Play games where we have to team up together. Right? We have an objective we have to do.
Yep.
Instead of just going, in there, just play a co-op game.
Right.
Yep.
We got to go through this story together. And I need you to
Yeah, or just avoid the whole online experience itself and play against the computer.
Play against the
Like,
computer.
Right.
That's okay too.
Yeah.
That's not cool. But that's not cool,
the
Dad.
thing.
I want to
That's
play
not the
online,
cool
Dad.
thing. You want to play.
That's
You
I
wanna
want to play
That's
online
true.
with my boys, though, Dad. Okay, well,
That's
you know what?
true.
If your boys are cutting up, just like if they were here in my house, that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Well,
Yep.
you have to find. You want to play online, then you need to show me you can play online.
Exactly.
Every time you play online, you start acting up.
Right. If
Yep.
I hear you bugging out in your room every time
Right.
you're online, I'm cutting you off.
Man, I'm
Yep.
gonna tell you right now, that's
Yep.
simple. The internet's
Yep.
off in here.
Yeah.
Right. Don't even get me started on screen time as a whole, because my kids are on limited screen time. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of parents they look at me kind of sideways while I look at them kind of sideways at the same time. I'm like, why are you giving them so much screen time? They're looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you give them some more screen time? I'll be like, man, because I just know. I guess maybe it's just because I'm a little bit more, because at the end of the spectrum, I'm at the end of the spectrum. I'm that volatile guy. You know what I mean? I know the worst part of it because I've been the worst part of online gaming before. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Mhm.
And it's not to say that every person is that way all the time. It's not to say that I've been like that all the time, because if that was the case, I highly doubt I would have carried this friendship for 15 years almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's just, all of it has to be taken with a little bit of grain of salt, first of all. And secondly, it's very nuanced. You know what I mean? Every individual is different. Every parent is different. Every kid's parent relationship is different.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely. You got to know your kids. You got to know your kids.
Right.
And
No,
and if you don't know
absolutely.
your kids, then I'm gonna tell you right now, don't trust them to just do the right thing.
Man, correct.
If you don't know your
Correct.
kid, don't assume he's gonna do the right thing.
Correct.
And maybe that's a bad way to look at it, but I know my son.
idle
and
hands.
I still don't assume he's gonna do the right thing all the time.
Man, because you can't, because
can't.
like my kids got me in them. I know they're not gonna do the right thing, but that's why, you know what I mean. It's just like, but you have to nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
But like you know that already, so you know at the very beginning, it's nope. We have rules from the very beginning. I think
Right.
I think a lot of parents run into issues. I don't want to get too much into this, is thinking that it's going to be something that it just ends up not being. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna let my kid game. It's fine. Everybody's gaming. All of a sudden, a couple months later, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Well, that I feel like that should have been, you should have did that right at the beginning.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Should have been addressed a while ago.
Yeah, it should have just been addressed a long time ago.
Yep.
But again, to summarize that, it's just, I think it's just what they're doing. Are they in the game chat? Get them out of the game chat. Just get them out.
Get them out
Because
of there.
the game chat is a problem if your kid can't handle it.
Yep.
If your kid can't handle being talked to crazy, he or she doesn't need to be in the game chat.
Right.
That's all there's to it. Now, if
And
you can handle it, go ahead.
Yeah, think about the fact that when we were coming up, and this will date me, but when I was trying to interact with people, we had AOL, right?
Mhm.
We had AOL Instant Messenger, right?
Right.
And the place that you didn't want to be is that open group chat, because anybody could be in there, right? You could be, your parents told you don't give anybody your screen name, don't give anybody your phone number, it's the same now. It's just that now it looks different. We have a million social media outlets between Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, but gaming should be viewed the same way.
Man,
right?
it should, because I didn't write this down, but bullying was one of the fears that, parents have naturally. And I get that. But again, that can be mitigated by doing the simple things that we just said.
Yep.
That bullying can be taken away. Nobody can talk to you.
Right.
You can even set up your account to where you can only talk to your friends. So if you're not friends, you can't hear anybody else.
Yep.
I don't think
plenty of safeguards. The systems have plenty of safeguards.
And I don't think a lot of parents know that.
No,
you can set that account up.
Even if that's the case, at the end of the day, you still have that very last line of defense, which is mom, which is dad, right? To sit here and say, okay, we need to figure out a way to do this.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And I truthfully believe that a lot of parents don't know that. You set up that child account, they can't talk to anybody but their friends.
Yep.
And that's all there's to it. You can't hear anybody. So that bullying stops.
Exactly.
It just stops.
Yep.
It's gone. It's non-existent.
No.
Aaron was good, man.
I'm just thinking about this is a side thing. That's why, because I'm thinking about us being all in a party and we will all roast each other in a second. Right.
Yeah.
But it's not a malicious thing. right?
No.
There's two different things, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm thinking. I was just laughing at that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
hear you. Yeah.
Some
no,
of the best
absolutely.
laughs I've ever had in my life have been through the Xbox.
Oh, no
I'm
question.
I
talking.
guarantee it.
I'm talking gut busting. It's a done deal. I'm talking about the best laughs.
We
have
talk
come
about stuff that was said on Xbox 10 years ago today.
today. Still comes up.
Yeah,
It's
man.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Next one, a big one, lack of physical activity. That's a tough one. I feel like that's tough for us because number one, we come from a different era. So it's got to be different for the kids that didn't come up in our era. But I go back to just, all of us are ex-college athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So the physical activity was there. You still had to go to practice. You still had to do something before these games. Right. And that's even back when we were still with the parents. You still had to go to practice. Like it was
no question.
Why you're not going to practice? There was no. Well, why are you at home? I just feel like gaming. Well,
no,
is practice canceled?
Did you not go to practice?
You just not go to practice? That's it. I'm punched.
Right.
I just got hit.
Yep.
I just got hit. You know what I mean? Like that, and I know that's not the now, but that's just what it was. That was it. That video game system was in the trash.
Man.
You mean to tell me you missed practice because of the game? It was in the trash.
No way. And the thing is, that's a good kind of carrot to dangle out in front of kids, because no kid who plays a sport wants to not play. Right. Man. So if you're playing this video game, you're not going to play on your team. So, that's the trade-off. But the other side of, the lack of physical activity, because face it, if you're playing video games, you're not being very active.
Not at all.
However, I think that's why systems like Wii were created. Now, is Wii the answer to all your physical needs? No. But if you have a kid who's not into sports, who isn't really naturally athletic or physically gifted, that's okay. Will they get into Wii? Maybe. But it comes down to then, and I hate saying it because I don't want to question people's parenting, but it's the balance of the amount of time you allow them to play the game. If you allow them to play the game during times that they could be active, then they will always choose the game over being active.
Yeah, it's just more. Yeah, it's just more fun.
You have to.
I mean, even think about us playing our sports. Gaming was always more fun. It didn't matter. No question. Gaming was always more fun. Besides the actual game. Gaming is always going to be more fun than practice. I don't give a damn what level. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's, again, it's like if it's allowed, it's just, I mean, if it's allowed, it's just allowed.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't in growing up. Yeah. There's just no way you were just not, and again, we come, we definitely come from a different era. We loved being outside as well.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's still kind of the mix too. You just had to.
It had to be outside.
You can even do something as, you know what? Before you get on this damn game, I need you to go outside for a couple hours.
Yep, for a couple hours.
You got just a couple hours. Possibly. You got friends on the block. You got stuff to do. You might have to run to the store. Whatever.
You got to get outside for a couple hours.
Kinds
if that's what you want
to do.
If that's what you want to do, again, I just go. I'm super old school. Take the damn thing away.
Yep.
Snatch that thing out of that room, and you can't get it.
Right. Well, you have to ask yourself, right? Yourself, or as a parent, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to rag on any parent, right? But I'm saying though, if you're sitting here telling me that physical activity is an important thing to you, okay, well then how are you showing that it's more valuable than the game? How are you making it so the kid understands the value of being active versus just playing the game, right? We're not saying don't play the game, but we're saying if you're having a problem, okay, well, let's address it for sure. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's just things you can do about it. Right. Of course. Yeah. Yes. Wii bowling's not going to cut it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing. Like, sure. I do tell parents, give that a shot though, that it's out there for a reason. Yeah. There's games that make you physically have to play it. And maybe your kid will have more fun doing that. But if yoga, they don't,
dancing.
I know my son, if he had a game where he was actually physically doing it, he would do it because he's
All
an
day.
active kid. He likes to dance. He likes to, play sports. Like kids like to do that. And if they'd rather do it in the house, I'm okay with that as long as you're doing something.
Yeah. I mean,
but-
physical activity is physical activity. I mean, I don't really know how, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah,
Physical activity
I'm okay
is
with
physical
that.
activity.
I'm okay with that. But the thing, like it comes down to parents don't realize how much power they have. I think a lot of times they relinquish power thinking that they just don't have control of the situation. They're like, oh, well, he's just going to throw a fit if I tell him he can't play the game. And I look at him like, and then what? Like what does that mean? Like, does that mean you've lost? Okay, well, if he throws a fit, then it's all over.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just means you need to buckle down. Like, have you had to do that as a parent? Because kids challenge you. That's what they do.
Right.
Kid's gonna say, no, I don't want to do it. Okay, well, I'm in control of this situation.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I'm gonna take this game, and you're not gonna see it. You have that power, right? Your kid can't go somewhere else and play the game because you're not letting them go anywhere else. That's just the way it is. You have that power.
Yeah, man, you do.
But parents don't. I don't think people realize that. I think they just lose that battle to the game because it's easier than having that battle with the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's tough.
That's
it's tough.
disappointing.
Also, and I won't sit here and lie and say that the screen is a good babysitter. The screen's a damn good babysitter sometimes. And, I get it. Sometimes you need that time. I can dig it. Like, I'm not mad at you.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes
you need it, right?
It's just easier to say, damn it, if you don't get the hell out of my face, go do something.
Here.
Take
the iPad, take the computer, just go.
Absolutely.
That's a very good point.
It is.
Very good point.
And like I go back to Aaron's screen time. I'm a little more liberal with the screen time, if you will. Mm-hmm. I don't mind it, but it comes down to what you're doing on there. We're not going to just be watching YouTube videos. You're going to be coloring. Like, there's other games like, my 5-year-old likes science. She does little scientific activities on there. You know what I'm saying? It's about mixing up what they're doing to me.
Yeah.
Because for me, obviously, I'm an IT guy. I'm on the computer screen all the time.
Yep.
And I prefer to be on the computer screen all the time, unless I'm golfing. It's about it.
Yep. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Totally
it's
agree.
what you're doing.
Content is important.
It's what you're doing, because I'm not gaming all the time. I'm 70% working on some type of service. I'm trying to configure something. Right. Yeah. But that's still screen time, but that's beneficial.
Still screen time. Yep.
But that's beneficial.
You're engaging your mind.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
You're not just vegetating on television.
Right. It's about what you're doing. Like I said, for
how many parents vegetate on their phones? How many parents vegetate on their TV?
It's tough. It's tough because it's so easy, and shit nowadays is right in your face. I mean, it's just at the click of a button.
Man, you have your whole business on this.
Man, it's all day. I'm bored. I want to watch a TV show. Okay, boom, it's right here. Boom. Like I can watch the TV show. I get it. Yep. It's tough, but still, I think it just comes down to the variety of things that your kids are doing on there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I can only relate to myself. I'm 38. I've been in front of a screen and/or video game my whole life, and that's just all there's to it.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's maybe that's why I'm a little nutty.
Right.
I don't know.
Maybe.
A nutty golfer who plays basketball, who's a college athlete who plays basketball, who has his own IT.
I'm just saying though, it's
I love video games too. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's an addition to, right?
I think it's just so frowned upon that it becomes just a big issue. That it's just we can't do this. We just can't. Well, some people do. Some people do. I do.
If you want your kid to be active, then you've gotten them involved in things at an early age. You know what I mean? Like you can't all of a sudden decide you want your kid to be physically active after they've been playing the game for the past 4 or 5 years.
Right.
It's like, oh, now I want you to play basketball.
Yeah, that's
that
tough.
kid's not going to play basketball ever. He may not ever be interested, or
basketball,
she may not ever be interested.
That's a totally different subject. That's a tough one to get your kid to play basketball. It's tough.
Man,
there's a lot that goes on,
especially
especially
your kid
late.
To be committed to be an athlete is a battle in itself, because there's so much more than goes in than what they see on television. You know, every kid wants to be LeBron James, But when I tell you how many hours LeBron James spends in the gym, you're like,
Nah, it's not good.
I'd rather get on this box.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Well, that
Hey, me
that's
too.
not it, right?
Right,
And me too,
right,
right? All day.
Exactly.
That's not it. You mean to tell me?
Nah.
Wait a second. You mean to tell me he's in the gym 6-7 hours a day? Yeah,
A day.
he is.
A day.
Yeah,
You know?
unfortunately, he is. Yeah, I'd rather play
Yeah,
the game.
Nah, man. It's an easy outlet. It's an easier outlet.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
The last one that I wanted to touch on is becoming addicted to technology. For me, that's a tough one because I'm addicted to technology. Like that one is tough. It's tough. I'm addicted to technology 100%. But Aaron and I were talking before this, or no, Rail. I'm sorry. I was talking to Rail about this. It was well, good. Use it to your advantage. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of things that you can do to make money. There's a bunch of careers in technology, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right. There's a difference between being addicted and being passionate about something at the same time.
Right. That's what it is. Is it an addiction, or are you just passionate about it?
You just can't get off it because you just can't get off it, or you can't get off because you see something and you see something you want. You see, like I was telling Brown not long ago, like I was just dying at work over here. Like I'm just busy every day. He's like, you just every day. I'm like every day on my computer, every day designing all day long, even when I'm not working for somebody. Just because I have that vision. It's not an addiction. It's like, man, I can make gains. You know what I mean? There's things that can be done here. Good things, you know?
Yeah, man. I think it's the how far you dive into it is relative to where you want to take it. Like to me, I got family members, and I won't say who they are, but I have family members who have spent their whole life playing games, which is fine because a lot of us have. I've played games my whole life. But if it prevents you from furthering your career, or if it prevents you from furthering your life, you know, like I haven't been on the dating scene because I'm a gamer, or I haven't really established myself in my career because I'm a gamer, or I haven't gotten my degree because I'm a gamer. That's an issue, right? But if you've taken this game, you know, these folks who are, you know, gamers, but now you're playing at Evo, you know what I mean? Like now you're playing, getting money, like that's hard to say that was the wrong pursuit, right? Now you're a professional gamer, you know? And if that's where you want to take it, then
but there's money to be had.
Now that's your passion.
That's what it becomes. It's your passion. Right. If that's something you set your eyes on,
right,
and you become that, you can make a lot of money.
Exactly.
You can make a lot of money. But the thing about it. Right. But the thing, you know, for me, the thing about technology is, okay, I would ask, what about technology do you love? Right. That would be the first question.
Yeah.
And then it's, I love editing videos. Okay, well, let's do that, man. Let's pursue something like that. Because like I said, I can use a video editor. You know what I mean? Like, no question. You can do anything. Man, I'm telling you.
What is technology at the end of the day anyways? What do you mean you're addicted to technology? You're addicted to air conditioning. You're addicted to your car driving you to work. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
What's an addiction? Broad. Really, at the end of the day,
it's broad. It's
so huge.
Again, if I saw that in my kid, we're going to go ahead and try to make some money off it. What do you like to do? It's going to become your focus of study because that's something that we can collaborate on. That's something you love to do. It's about, for me, and this is just for me only, it's about what do you love to do?
Right.
Okay, that's what you love to do. Let's figure it out. Let's study it. Here, let's get you a couple books. Become an expert in it.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Become an expert.
Become great at it.
Become great at it.
Become great at it. And that's the thing. I tell, you know, and I keep going back to because I have a specific family member in mind when I think of this. He is so good at a specific game, but he hasn't pursued doing it professionally because he's nervous to fail. He hasn't failed enough in his life.
Man,
right?
And
so,
I feel
like
100%.
That's the thing. Like, and if your gaming has prevented you from failing and failing big, then you've done yourself a disservice. Your parents have done you a disservice. Like, I'm okay with going against the best in a game because I've gone against the best in basketball. I've gone against the best in professional life. Like I've gotten my ass kicked a lot, right? I've had people smack me. I've also smacked a lot of people, you know. So if you're gaming, if you're not trying to be the best at it, if you're not trying to, you know, take it to the next level, then you have to moderate the amount of time you spend on it. You just do.
No, that makes total sense. That makes perfect sense. It's right. But like I said, I would dig into it and try to figure out what it is you really love to do.
Right.
And let's go ahead and try to let's turn that into something.
Yeah.
Because you're good at it. And you love it. There's nothing, I tell you what, this is off topic, but there's nothing better than waking up, just doing what you want to do. I can tell you that right now. I don't give a damn what you're doing.
Whatever it is.
It doesn't matter. You wake up every day like, damn, this is what I want to do.
Right.
It's going to be great. You're going to feel satisfying. Great. Right. And it might, the problem is it just doesn't look, it's not sexy, right? It's just not a good look. It's not in, if you will. It's just not the greatest look. Well, my son or daughter just wants to do this. It's not a good look. Okay, well, there's money to be made. I bet you can get on board with that.
Right.
I guarantee you can get on board if we start talking figures. We start talking
making money.
This money. Well, your kid can do this. Okay, well, I'll pay him. Somebody will pay him to do this. Right. I'm not saying maybe a career, but a side hustle. Get some money.
Right.
All day. People
all day.
Man, it's just all day. There's money to be had.
No question.
Absolutely. So yeah. No, that was good. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. That was good.
Wait, hang on a second, Chad. What's that game that your cousin plays?
I know, right?
Hey, because Aaron.
Because I'm already thinking right now, because you just said Evo tournament, so I'm already thinking Street Fighter, and I'm thinking to myself,
it's not Street Fighter. Even though he did play Street Fighter, he was a Tekken guy for a long time. He's Tekken Tag, and I mean, and at one point he was second in the Midwest at Tekken Tag, right? So he was legit. And now he plays the Marvel versus Capcom.
Oh, you know this one.
Yeah, and he just smacked up this guy who won one of the Evos maybe a couple years ago. And I'm like, man, why don't you try to do this professionally? Like you're really, really good at this. And he's like, man, you know, there's times where I get so I've seen people get so frustrated that they black out. And I'm like, damn, wait a minute, what? Wow. Is that's what's preventing you? Do you do that? Is that your response? He's like, no, I don't get frustrated like that, but you know, I've seen people do it. And I'm like, what you just said is an example of why you haven't gone where you want to go, because you're too afraid to fail. You know, the game has prevented you from really failing. You haven't played any sports. You know, you haven't seen failure up front. So the idea of jumping into something that big and failing really, really scares him. It really scares him.
That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, I would just encourage whoever he is, I would say, dude, do yourself a favor. You know what I mean? Because this is the best thing you can do. If this is the best thing that you're at in your eyes and you think that this is something you want to do, I would say take the time, set yourself a time limit. I'm going to give myself the next year and a half, next 2 years to really buckle in on this thing and try to get somewhere and try to make something. Because as soon as you make a little bit of ground, just that little bit of gains, man, you're going to feel on top of the world. Right. You're going to feel the best.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
It's hard, man. It ain't easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Right, like there was one point in time where I was ranked in the top 10 on Street Fighter 4. I would never forget it. It took time though. And it was, but for me, being such a competitor, right, and knowing adversity regularly, that was just the thing. Like, I want to see how far I could take this thing just on the game itself. I went to a couple tournaments, but I never thought about going to Evo. I got invited to Florida one time. I didn't care about it. You know what I mean? Right. But man, it's a grind, of course, but you have to keep your eyes on the goal, right? You know where you're going. You know what you want to do. At the end of the day, after your time limit is up, if you haven't made any gains, well, okay, now it's time for you to maybe still love it, but you know, it's time to move on. Do something else.
Right. Pick up something else. Right. You don't have to drop it completely, but pick up something else.
Right. I still beat my kid's ass on Street Fighter all the time. It's my favorite thing to do. My son's always like, oh, I'm going to get you down. Like, the day you beat me is the day that I'm dead. That's it.
Right. No, I hear you on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, no, that was fun. That was that was a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys for doing this. I definitely will have you on again.
For sure.
real soon. No, absolutely. I want to thank everybody else for watching too. So appreciate y'all.
Yep.
All right.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Holla.
Yeah.